Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound County Talk Live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, it was feared that the Nairobi governor and his deputy, their days were numbered in office, but like it is said, a day in politics is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day in politics. Well, it is now confirmed that the impeachment has been shelved, and the governor has been given a month to address all the issues raised by the charges leveled against him in the impeachment, failure to which there will be a revisit of the same. Now, while that is going on, the names of Raila Odinga and William Ruto have not been kept from that particular development, in the sense that it took the influence of Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who are the party leaders of the majority members of the county assembly of the Nairobi County, to call the impeachment off. And now it is claimed that they shielded Sakaja from being impeached. And in this particular show, we'll be looking at why was this intervention important, and what does it signify? Is there any more, liberty of the Nairobi people to determine the leadership of their county, and of course raise their dissatisfaction when their governor is failing on responsibility? Or our MCAs are just there to be used as puppets, accomplish political ends, and that's the end of the story? Would want to hear what you feel about the whole scenario. And then, of course, we would also require you to let us know how you feel about the whole situation. Because according to the poll we ran in the last show, everybody wanted Sakaja to go. So what actually happened, and why is it happening in the first place? That's why we really need to have some political depth in our analysis in order for us to make sense of what informs some of those unpopular decisions, because there are decisions that are taken that are unlikely and, of course, don't sit well with the majority of Kenyans. But when we give it a close look, a close scrutiny, you may just end up, pointing out what actually was at play and who was getting back to whom. In politics, you can pick on somebody when you really don't need to pick on that person. You may be fighting another person through another. And so the calls for impeachment are made, and of course there is a spirited effort to get the signatures and all that. At times in politics, it could just be put there as drama to distract the public from where they ought to be looking And politicians will look for a way to get away with their ills and their evils simply by succeeding to divert attention. And so there are two schools of thoughts about the Sakaja impeachment. One, it was a drama just put up for political purpose, and the purpose was to distract Kenyans from discussing the huge scandal that is now at the Shah with, of course, Duale, and of course the president and all the players, beneficiaries and pushers of the Shah program to ensure that certain amounts of money ends up in certain people's pocket, and it should be done continually. It is alleged that the Shah payments first and foremost go for the payment of the software and the payment of everything else before they now address the really issue of the healthcare of the Kenyan people. And so these are some of the things that we would want to get to the bottom of the same, and of course make a conclusion that is worth the whole thing. Thank you so much for joining from wherever you are. Please take charge anytime you find us on whatever platform you are following us on. On TikTok, make sure you're sharing the live, you're liking the video, and inviting more people to join. We are live on YouTube, Sound Candy Talk Live, as well as Facebook, Sound Candy Talk Facebook page. And we really require you to share the link widely, get more people to come in. I believe as my colleagues and of course our fathers, our leaders, our elders will be joining us into sharing different views about the whole scenario. So what is your take on this? Was it necessary for Raila Odinga and William Ruto to intervene in salvaging Sakaja? And what was at stake here that really brought about all this? And of course, the opposition politics, as well as the high-stake and popular status that the marriage between the ODM and the UDA is not sitting well with majority of Kenyans. And so probably the risking of a by-election in Nairobi is a tall order, especially for these two main political parties. And so probably the rescuing of Sakaja was meant to escape that by-election. Of course, the humiliation by the spirited effort by Gachagua, the Wamunyoro movement that really wants to have a stake in the running of the affairs of Nairobi. And so many things being said, let's get to the bottom of what should have, what went down, and of course, how in the world can we be protecting corruption and safeguarding perpetuation of incompetence when the population is suffering in such a scenario. And so I would that keeping our emotions aside and of course our political persuasions aside, let's critically look into this. Is this how politics should be done? And can we ever run politics in the interest of the masses and forget about our personal gain and personal safeguarding? Like it appears all politicians are playing on the same team, wearing the same jersey. And so no matter which part of the country they are coming from, whatever political party they are coming from, when their own is in trouble, they will gang up against the masses, which is most unfortunate, but a reality of what really goes on in our operation. So let's listen out to this particular video on how the intervention of William Ruto and Raila Odinga brought about the salvation of Sakaja from facing the axe by the Nairobi MCAs. Here we go. We'll be back shortly to break it down.
Now, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has survived an impeachment scare after members of the county assembly from both ODM and UDA shelved plans to remove him from office. The about turn follows closed-door meetings with ODM leader Raila Odinga and President William Ruto. Sakaja has now been given just 1 month to address the grievances raised by the MCAs or face renewed calls for his removal. And as Victor Ngaruya reports, the move by Ruto and Raila to shield Sakaja is a wider political calculation to avert a humiliation by the opposition should the ouster result in a by-election, as the MCAs also wanted the deputy governor impeached.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja can breathe a sigh of relief for now. The dramatic turn of events, MCAs allied to ODM and UDA have suspended plans to table an impeachment motion against Governor Johnson Sakaja.
Kwa kauli moja tumekubaliana kwamba hiyo impending impeachment iahirishwe na itolewe, na sasa tumekubaliana governor endelee na kazi.
The decision follows emergency consultations with party leaders at State House and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation in Nairobi. The commitment by Raila Odinga and William Ruto to shield Governor Sakaja and Deputy James Mushiri from the MCAs was a calculated move. Had the MCAs succeeded their ouster bid, a by-election would have been inevitable, plunging ODM and UDA in a fierce contest against the opposition in a battle for the soul of the capital city. Earlier, more than 80 MCAs had already signed in support of the motion to impeach Governor Sakaja. Insiders say the MCAs wanted GG Mushiri included in the impeachment motion. Now the duo has been given 1 month to resolve concerns raised by ward representatives.
MCAs wamelia malalamiko kiasi kama communication, mambo ya ward zao, vile development inafaa kuwa kwa ward, mambo ya bursaries.
According to ODM officials, the closed-door talks were attended by MCAs from Wiper and Jubilee parties as well. Later, Sakaja proceeded to State House, where UDA MCAs raised similar grievances. President William Ruto urged the party members to give the governor 2 months to fix his administration. The truce adds yet another chapter to Nairobi's turbulent history with impeachment politics. The direct involvement of party leaders underlines just how difficult a test lies ahead for Governor Johnson Sakaja. Nairobi governor slips from the clause of impeachment, but not without the hand of the ODM leader and now accusations on his back. Victor Ngaruya, NTV, at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation, Nairobi.
Okay, there you have it. Wow, what came into play that resulted into the shelving the impeachment process against Johnson Sakaja, the Nairobi governor. Now, looking at this, like I noted earlier, that politics will always come into play. And of course, they say that in politics, there are no permanent enemies, there are no permanent friends, only permanent interests. And so when such a call is placed, the interests come into play. And then, of course, I notice we are so quick as Kenyans to apportion blame and to rush into conclusion on what came into led into that particular decision. And then, of course, so when you look at the social media and the kind of cartoons and the kind of AI-generated videos are all about money exchanging hands and people being settled so that the impeachment is averted. But I see deeper than this, in my opinion, that this is not just about money exchanging hands. This is about political survival. This is about political dominance. And if there is anything that every politician is afraid of, is an election. yes, as much as they talk tough and want to prove that they are electable and they will be re-elected and things like that, every politician fears elections, and especially impromptu elections that are called without prior preparation. And there is not much time to ensure that their interest and their persuading of the public will be able to work. And so I see the Raila Ruto intervention into the Sakaja situation is not to defend Sakaja's corruption or support Sakaja's corruption, but to avert impromptu election that could result. It has been noted there that the MCAs were not only going for Sakaja, but they also wanted his deputy to go. So both of them to leave office. And what that is spelled out in the constitution is that when there fall a vacancy in the governor's office as well as deputy governor's office, the speaker of the assembly will be acting governor for 60 days. And then, of course, the electoral commission will call for a by-election. And so with the 86 MCAs giving their signatures and wanting that to happen, and of course the ODM and the UDA having a stake in Nairobi, they would not sit back and watch for there to create a vacancy that they are not prepared for in determining how that particular feeling of that vacancy is going to take place. And so in my analysis and understanding here, the Raila Ruto intervention is to avert a by-election and not necessarily to support the Sakaja, the Sakaja corruption, or in any way vindicate Sakaja for not being culpable of whatever that was being leveled against him. So looking at this critically, you will see that there is more at stake here than just the charges. And then, of course, when you also look at the kind of charges that were leveled against Sakaja, you notice most of those 20 enumerated charges against Sakaja, most of them are not constitutional, okay? That we should impeach Sakaja because the city is unclean. I mean, it is true the city is not clean, but is that an impeachable offense? And so you will see that even the MCAs and the crafting of that particular entire charge sheet against Sakaja, it was meant to go and be defeated. And that's what I'm saying. There is much drama in our politics right now than sense and than depth. And that, in my opinion, is an embarrassment to the people that have been given the greatest responsibility in the country, but they are playing with that particular responsibility. Instead of them defending the interests of the public, they are busy doing drama and showing off on how incompetent they are, and of course on how disinterested they are in safeguarding the interest of the public. And that is not how things should be done. And so if they wanted Sakaja to go, then they will need to frame up serious violations, serious charges that, when they are read, somebody is shown the door. I will give you the example of how Waititu was impeached. Waititu's judgment, when it was read, the Senate was determined to save him. But when the witnesses took to the dock and questions were leveled and evidence was displaced on how abusing of office and snatching people's land and things like that, everybody would not save Waititu. So you will see from those charges being leveled against Sakaja, you will notice that this is a game. It is not anything serious that is supposed to really shake Sakaja. And so I see that even the president and Raila Odinga and the ODM, the UDA, there is something they are playing here that is not what the public is seeing. And so let us not be quick in running into conclusion. And of course, money exchanging hands or using impeachment to scare the governors so that the governors can release some money to the MCAs is an allegation that is with us, and probably it will stay with us for some time. But I also want to hear what you think. Put in the comment section or use the link, get into the studio. Let's talk and analyze these things for what they are. I'm happy Reverend Lala is here. Lala, how are you?
I'm well, Bernard. How are you?
Great, great. Welcome. Are you in a position to throw sense into this?
Yeah, I'm on the road, but I can talk a little bit. I think I concur with you. I agree almost 100% because last time we talked about this subject, I think it was the Mangati and the Kericho governor and others on the rope. And my challenge was that it seems as if we know how to kuharibu, yani to bring people down, but we don't have a structure there to replace it. So it is just changing one bad to the other because the system is rotten. So it doesn't help trying to bring one down if you don't have a structure to correct the problem. All you're doing is changing one thief for the other, and I think that is the problem. So I think Kenyans must address the problem, and the problem is the governance itself, the structures there, and where the people are mentally. So there's a lot that need to be done. We gotta be very, very clear of what we are trying to do, because what we may be doing is doing a bid for those other thieves because they're already collecting data, for themselves. So when they don't get what they're asking for, then of course they impeach you, and because they know they have the data, when actually they themselves are simply disgruntled. They didn't get what they were looking for. Instead of really looking at the interest of wananchi as the Kenyans, vile the system is structured in a way that these guys are taking advantage of it. So to me, kwangu ni shida is bigger than just removing Sakaja. Sakaja may have very little to do with what is really going on. We may have a lot to do with what's going on, but we don't even know what we are doing. So our job is to right now onekana kazi yetu ni kuharibu. I don't like it naribu. Unaona watoto wakiwa wanacheza and one is building a nice structure, alafu yake inaharibika, alafu anaanza kuharibu everything, anaharibu za zile za mwenzake. And this is exactly what is going on in Kenya. So we got to be very, very careful how we correct a problem, or else we'll have no country, because this can get out of spiral, one, the other up to the end. Because we know that the big government is a problem, a major, major problem. But at least we all have a structure there. So what we need to do is to try to educate Kenyans, let them see the bigger problem, the larger problem, and let us put the nation ahead of individual interest, and let us clearly, because a lot of things we know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to teach us what to do. We did it in our cultural setting. If you are in Luya land or Luo land, you want to become a leader or an elder, or yule mzee wa mji, not anybody could occupy those positions. Not any jack and you had to be a man or a woman with impeccable character. Lazima uwe mtu ambao watu wanamheshimu, una wisdom. They had all the yardsticks required to have a great leader. The same system that we use to select a CEO of a major company, whether it's a Coca-Cola or Pepsi, whatever. You look at different facets of this person, and then you all compete, and then the right candidate is selected. Why can't we do that with our election? In other words, we came from a well-structured system, and instead of keeping it, we are trading it for thieves, for something which is open to ridicule and stealing and all that. So to me, I think there's wisdom in not just destroying for the sake of destroying, but there must be wisdom in very constructive engagement when it comes to matters such as election and the constitution. If somebody has a term limit, that is of course the final. But then in the middle, still, yes, you can bring it down, but you bring it down when you are very, very clear what you're doing, not politicizing everything. So that's how I look at it. And I don't think maybe unless somebody convinces me of something else going on, otherwise, maybe Bernard, you have got more detail, more information, but that's the way I look at it. I'm not privileged to know, the details of what really, they were considering. But if it's a criminal matter, then let the judiciary, get involved, than just politicizing using impeachment, which is a political, system to correct a legal problem. Back to you, Bernard.
Okay, thank you, Lala. We appreciate that clear and precise. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to engage, tafadhali karibisha mtu tumakinike pamoja tunapoangazia masuala haya. I love the way you are putting the approach to this impeachment, because it appears that now impeachment, what was meant to be the teeth in our constitution to see to it that corruption, mismanagement of public resources, and of course bad leadership is kept in check. It just been reduced into a scarecrow. Instead of people doing due diligence to see to it that if there is a call for impeachment, there is enough grounds for the same. And of course, they are able to cite what is going wrong by reason of those particular grounds that are being raised on the same. And so the politics of trying to scare people and, using the constitution or a provision of the constitution instead of people deliberately taking responsibility for the job that they have been hired to do as MCAs, to represent the people, to oversight the executive, and then of course legislate. You see that we, the people in the political space, are not taking this particular three major responsibilities of members of county assembly, members of national assembly, members of the Senate, serious enough to come up with an impeachment that is valid and, of course, foolproof, in the sense that it has to sail through because there is enough grounds, and then, of course, it is in the interest of the public. Not so that we scare the governor and then the governor will call us for bonding, for whatever, take us for lunch and give us brown envelopes, and the story ends there. We are the one turning against our own constitution by not making it effective. There is something here by Mufuni. He says, so Kenyans have to tolerate Sakaja's poor leadership to avoid a by-election because Raila and Ruto are scared of defeat. Now, I don't know if that is the case, but like Reverend Lala has said, if there is enough grounds and those grounds are leveled, and then there is a systematic way of ensuring that we get rid of this, and then this one comes in, other than getting the governor out of office, then of course it will be followed by case after case, and then now whatever that was going on while he's in the office will be put on hold. We have had this experience in Nairobi until the county was handed over to Nairobi Metropolitan, and of course ran to some extent effectively that way, but that is not what the constitution envisioned. And so I would that as Kenyans, we are very excited when there is a call to chase somebody from office or to get rid of somebody. But we shouldn't just think of getting rid of that person. We should also think of the consequences of doing that and whether we are able to handle those consequences. I'm not a very good fan of those people who say, let's do the damage, we'll think about the repair later. That attitude, in my opinion, is irresponsible, and it's only, held by those who don't mind that life continues regardless of what happens. And so if we are not pro-life and pro-safeguarding of livelihood, we better not participate into wherever ousting anybody from office. What I'm simply saying is nature abhors vacuum, and the moment there is no leadership, everything will begin to collapse, and the stakes in Nairobi are very high. Remember, the tax collection in Nairobi alone is over 2 billion a day. And so I want you to envision there's no governor, there's no deputy governor, and there is a court case, and things are falling apart. By the time you come back, City Hall will have been sold. And things like that. So,
Bernard, I just wanted to emphasize something here.
Yes,
countries that use, in most countries that use impeaching of the leadership, usually it is almost after there's so much has been done, including court cases. And after that, they say, we can't keep this guy in here, or some major ethical challenges. So what I'm saying here is that, there are other methods that can be used, actually. Some of these MCAs and others bringing charges, they should be able to go to court, call the system if the system is working correctly. Some of these things can be done. So by the time the impeachment, comes in, it's almost clear to people. This is why we want to get rid of this person, get him out of, or get her out of this particular seat. So it can't be impeachment the first and the last. There are other ways to correct the problem. And so that's why I think the way we are probably abusing the impeachment, because I don't think it was ever meant to cure all the ills in the counties. I think it's one of them, there should be a major one, because when it's an impeachment, it means the parties will suffer, okay? The country will suffer, a lot of these things, so they all have a stake in it. So to me, I think it's a failure on our structures to be able to correct the problem, the problems which are there, or else we have a system where these people bringing some of these cases have other motives behind. It's nothing to do with it's like shouting fire in a crowded theater, you know, and when there's somebody need to be arrested, so the only way to get out is to shout, and everybody's running everywhere, and then they get out and escape. So to me, I think we are abusing this impeachment. It should be done for surely, but let us look at other structures that are there, especially the court cases. There are things that should be in court. If you know somebody stealing the money, I'm sure there are other ways that things can be done. So whoever is calling, this impeachment, let's look at are they doing their job or they are failing us. So back to you, Bernard.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, Reverend Lala. We appreciate that. And of course, a very important point there that impeachment is not the only way to address ills. And it doesn't have to go through the MCAs. There are other means to get rid of bad leadership, and then, of course, address things that are going wrong. And then, of course, one of it is the Anti-Corruption Commission. We have the justice system, or rather the criminal justice system. And so Sakaja cannot be off the hook simply because the impeachment has been put on the shelf. If there are enough grounds for him to for him to be put on his defense, then there are different avenues to address that. And so nobody should cry foul in the name that the politics have overthrown the legalities and the ills that are being leveled against Sakaja. In my opinion, there are still other avenues that whatever those ills are about can be addressed. And that is why no Kenyan should feel that they have been blocked from getting rid of Sakaja or Sakaja answering for his ills. If there are enough grounds, he has violated the constitution, he has neglected his responsibility, then we can address it through the justice system if the political avenue is, is complicated. And that is it. And of course, Mfunye here talking about Raila and Ruto being scared of defeat. And that's what I'm telling you, that politics have a way of making people make decisions that are not popular, and of course look for cutting corners in order for them to save their skin. And so, like I said, politicians are players, and being a player means you maneuver. You saw the way Harambee Star was playing in Kasarani. They were not playing one style all through, and were not playing the same thing against different teams. There are some drastic measures that were deployed in order for them to ensure that they come up with a win. And so in politics, there is give and take. There is compromise here and there. And of course, trying to ensure that things don't fall apart, especially against you. And so let's not feel as Kenyans that politicians have failed and so we have failed. No, there are other avenues we can address this, and let's exercise those avenues, especially when the Constitution empowers us to do so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Please, karibisha mtu usitazame kipindi peke yako. Tuko live kwa Facebook page inaitwa Sound Candy Talk, and then of course TikTok is Sound Candy Talk, and then on YouTube is Sound Candy Talk Live. And then of course we need your input. If you agree with what we are saying, you tell us you agree. If you disagree, give us reasons why you disagree. And then of course this is an open forum, therefore your opinion is required and your input really matters. Let's look further on the same issue of the MCAs and their behavior in trying to pull back from what they had, psyched the whole country to by demanding that Sakaja should go. And then their claims that, which are allegations that some MCAs were threatened, things like that. Let's just listen out to this video, and then we look at were there indeed threats, or it is just looking for an scapegoat for being irresponsible and not having a nerve to stand your ground to do what you intended to do from the very beginning. Let's listen out, and then we get back to break that down. And I'm still waiting for Jakidube Undumani and the rest of you. Hata PS wangu leo hajafika, lakini nashukuru. Naomba tafadhali tujitahidi kukaribishana. Thank you those following us on TikTok. Not seeing likes, please like the video. Don't just watch. Asante. Let's hear this, and then we get back to break it down.
From Mandera to Nairobi County, where it's reprieve for Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja after President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga convinced Nairobi MCAs to drop the impending impeachment motion that was to be tabled Tuesday.
Reports indicate that the two camps, who had been summoned separately by their parties, have given Sakaja at least 60 days to iron out issues raised by the members of the county assembly.
However, KTN has learned that the MCAs were informed they would miss out on nominations in the 2027 election should they insist on the impeachment motion.
As KTN's Daniel Kariuki now reports, the impeachment motion has been shelved, at least for now.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has remained a man under siege as members of the County Assembly of Nairobi intensified plans to impeach him Tuesday. But Sakaja could be smiling, at least for now, after President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga intervened to stop the move. In an apparent attempt to stop the imminent impeachment of Sakaja, MCAs from both coalitions were invited to separate meetings. ODM, who are the majority in the Nairobi County Assembly, met ODM leader Raila Odinga at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation, while UDA MCAs confirmed they had been invited at State House in a meeting chaired by President William Ruto.
Hakuna hatua kwa sasa kwa sababu tumempatia muda na lazima apewe muda pia kurekebisha. Hatuwezi sema leo atafanya leo. Yesi malaika. Lazima apewe muda kufanya kazi na muda wa kurekebisha. Na tumekubaliana kwa mwezi mmoja, na pia watakuwa na mikutano ya kufanya hapa na pale, ya kufanya informal meetings zao ili kuona yale tumezungumza yamefanywa na ya gani hajafanywa.
Though details from the meeting have remained scanty, KTN has learned that President Ruto has taken it upon himself to handle Sakaja's issue and pleaded with the MCAs to allow him 60 days to solve the issues between Sakaja and the county legislators. However, ODM MCAs were pushing for 1 month for the governor to solve the issues raised. Sakaja was in the ODM meeting chaired by Odinga.
Akirudia hayo makosa, sasa atabeba mzigo wake mwenyewe. Lakini amekubali kurekebika na amekubali kurekebisha. Na amekubali pia yale ameambiwa, kwa sababu kitu kubwa ni maendeleo. Na maendeleo kama ufanyii watu wako, na Nairobi ikiwa capital city inaangaziwa sana. Kwa hivyo lazima tumpatie support ya kufanya hayo maendeleo.
The MCAs were scheduled to table the impeachment motion Tuesday afternoon after 87 MCAs appended their signatures in support of the impeachment motion.
We have enough signatures. We passed the threshold. In the 5th minute of collection of signatures, we already had the minimum required 42. We want to ensure that we are not going to take the motion with 42. We are going to take the motion with 100 signatures.
We've had an executive that is unresponsive. When you do letters, no response is coming from the executive side. When we allocate budget for bursary, again, the same budget is not realized.
However, KTN has learned that from Tuesday's State House meeting, the MCAs were threatened that they would be denied certificates of nomination in the 2027 elections should they not go slow on the impeachment motion. A section of MCAs who spoke to KTN says they have scheduled another meeting with the president Wednesday alongside the embattled governor in efforts to resolve the issues. Will President Ruto and Odinga rescue Sakaja from the impeachment plot? Daniel Kariuki, KTN.
Away from Nairobi County, former Bungoma Governor Wycliffe Wangamati and Bomet Governor Hillary.
Okay, there you have it. Threats and counter allegations of threats by reason of protecting and ensuring that Sakaja continues. Like I said, what is at play here is politics, and those politics are not a much of safeguarding the welfare of the Kenyan people, but protecting the political interest. I don't think Raila Odinga and William Ruto can stand, or rather are ready for a by-election in Nairobi. And based on the what is at play right now in the political arena, they are not ready. So they would rather buy time other than allow whatever that will be disruptive to take place. But does that mean Sakaja is off the hook? I don't think so. And whoever wants Sakaja to answer for his ills has different avenues to approach for the same. But having said that, I would also want to raise the issue of MCAs and their responsibility. Coming from a political party or belonging to a political party does not mean that you agree with everything the political party decides, especially when it comes to issues like this, impeachment of a governor or any person in public office. I think the political parties should let the players to take a plea or take a stand which is individual and personal on these particular issues. And so the political parties trying to curtail members of the county assembly not to exercise their constitutional responsibility, to me, is unnecessary, uncalled for, and undemocratic. You know, it's unhealthy. We need to have a healthy democracy, and a healthy democracy means people are given the free will of, deciding how the matter will be addressed. And so this protecting of people in office using political parties and using political party leadership, other than allowing those members to exercise what is their responsibility, is unethical, it's unconstitutional, and should not be put as a precedent. It should not be let to be the norm. No, then let the MCAs take a position and do what they should do. Having said that, I also want to emphasize that when it comes to election, elect people that have their own head, people that have their own stand, and people that are able to stand for the public and the interests of the public, regardless of other whatever interests in the politics. The aspect of people singing one song and dancing one song and going in one direction, if it's not for the interest of the public and the interest of the great people of this great nation, then it is uncalled for. And so no more of party patronage at the expense of constitutional responsibility and constitutional undertaking. Let us be known for what we believe and stand for. And then, of course, you as an MC, a member of parliament, a member of the Senate, understand the three major roles of your responsibilities and play your role in those, in view of those. Don't play your role of playing sycophants and trying to be politically correct, legally, wherever illegal, and of course, trying to just do what the party said. If the party says something that is not in the interest of the public, and of course demanding that you compromise your values and your principles, then you have a right to take a walk. You have a right to take a walk. This aspect of people looking helpless because they're in a political party and the political party has taken a stand that is unpopular, and then of course a violation of the law, you don't have to. You don't have to. And so I really would want to lead to see a free county assembly, a free national assembly, a free senate, where people express themselves freely and are free to vote in whatever direction they choose to vote, because they have been sent to be representatives of the Kenyan people, and they are doing whatever they are doing in the interest of the Kenyan people. As we land on that particular issue, before we switch gears, we see a section of members of parliament, especially from ODM in Nairobi, supporting the decision to buy time for Sakaja and give Sakaja a chance to repent, turn around, and do the right thing. Are you in support of the same, or you want Sakaja gone like yesterday? Let us know in the comment section, or you can join the show. The link to use is in the comment section. Click on it, allow StreamYard to configure for you the camera as well as the audio, and then get into this space for us to talk. Let's see the views of the ODM members of parliament in Nairobi on the salvation of Sakaja from impeachment.
We'll have the grace to bear that pain. Let's move on now to another story where a section of ODM members of parliament from Nairobi have welcomed the move by Nairobi members of the county assembly to drop the intended plan to impeach Governor Johnson Sakaja, saying the decision will safeguard the stability of the capital. Led by the Nairobi County Chairman George Aladwa, MPs Beatrice Elachi of Dagoretti North, Felix Odiwuor, popularly known as Jalas of Langata, and Women Rep Esther Pasaris, the legislators said the decision by MCAs to abandon the ouster motion was a bold step that puts the interests of the Nairobi residents ahead of politics.
Increasingly becoming clear that attempts of removal of elected governors from office by impeachment has become more common, and in many instances by speculative constitutional organs, without realizing when you're in midterm of any election or in midterm of any term of those in elected office, it's very difficult to realize what you would wish to realize. And so it's very critical to destabilize instead of gaining.
I just want to thank our leadership, especially our party leadership and the leadership of the broad base, for having intervened on what was going to be a mess for us as a country. Nairobi has had many challenges before. Remember when Sonko was impeached, we had a lot of problems within Nairobi, and as the leaders of Nairobi, we want service delivery.
That the governor has to actually have a wake-up call.
The Parliamentary Committee on...
Okay, there you have it. Wanasema momba ngoma uvuta kwake. Kwa hivyo wabunge wa ODM wanasema kuna haja ya kuleta tafaruku katika kubadilisha uongozi wa Nairobi katikati ya mechi. Wanasema waache mambo jinsi yalivyo. Sakaja apewe nafasi ya kujiokoa, ya kujinusuru. Akipoteza basi au pia watasaidia kumuondoa. Well thought out and well spoken, but at the end of the day, public office is not supposed to be an opportunity for self-enrichment. It's supposed to be an opportunity for serving the public and, of course, making life better. The people in public office, especially the governors, needs to have that reminder that reminder behind their mind every day of their life, to understand that being in public office doesn't make you a boss. Being in public office doesn't make you a god. Being in public office makes you a servant of the people. And so decisions should be done and, of course, made in the interest of the people. Well, I want to thank you so much for being part of the conversation. We are taking a short break. When we come back, we'll be switching gears to look at the governors and their rejection of electronic procurement as suggested and, of course, being pushed by Treasury. We'll be looking at this and, of course, raising questions. Why is this the case? Why are the governors against the process of procurement and they want to do it physically? Is it for corruption? Is it for what? Let's keep it right here as we take a break. Please karibisha mtu tukirejea tutakuwa na nafasi nzuri tu ya kuangazia masuala haya bila kuegemea saidi yoyote bali kusimamia haki na ukweli. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
You've dreamed about the perfect wedding, the dress, the vows, the happily ever after. But let's ask the most important question. Before you say I do, are you truly ready for the lifelong commitment that comes after the honeymoon period fades? Bernard Ngozzi's groundbreaking ebook Are You Marriage Ready? Is the ultimate guide to building a successful, lasting marriage. This isn't just another relationship book, it's a heart-to-heart conversation that prepares you for one of life's biggest decisions, getting married. Are you choosing love or just infatuation? Are you building a marriage or just planning a wedding day?
Reading this book was a game changer. I realized I wasn't as ready as I thought, but now I'm on the right path.
Don't wait until it's too late. Invest in your future. Download Are You Marriage Ready today. Link in the description below. Your future spouse deserves the best. Are you ready?
They found out they couldn't stop him. Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. Terror couldn't kill him. Death couldn't hang him. And the grave couldn't hold him. Yeah! That's my king. That's my king. Hallelujah, yes, we are naga.
Sound Candy Talk Live News.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being part of the great conversation on Sound Candy Talk. Tunakukaribisha sehemu yoyote ulipo, tafadhali tuambie uko wapi, and then of course tunaangazia siasa zetu na jinsi ya kuelewa ni kipi kinachoendelea, kipi kinachosemwa, kile ambacho kinadindwa kusemwa na kwa sababu ipi. Well, I want to really salute all of you for your commitment, faithful followership and support of the channel. Tafadhali watu wa TikTok mnanilete down, sijaona likes kwa video, sijui shida iko wapi. Let me see some likes tafadhali. It's important, it helps the live stay alive, and then of course we gain more when there are likes on the video. That also goes for YouTube as well as Facebook. Let's listen out. Why are governors against the process of procurement and they want to revert and continue with the manual system? Is this a breeding ground for corruption or what? Let's listen out to this, then we come back to break it down. Here we go.
Now I turn the crack to Delta House here in Nairobi, where the Council of Governors is currently having a meeting, and I understand that the COG chairperson, Ahmed Abdullahi, is currently speaking. That is actually Mutahi Kahiga Nyeri, governor, who's speaking. Let's listen in.
Shida na e-procurement, lakini hatutasingiziwa kuitumia kwa sababu haifanyi kazi. Mwisho kabisa tungetaka tuombe serikali kuu iendelee kuheshimu ugatuzi na katiba kuu ambao iliyopitishwa na Wakenya. Wakenya walizungumza kupitia kuunda katiba mpya, heri itekelezwe. Juzi tu rais ameweza kutuongoza katika sherehe ya miaka 15 ya kusherekea katiba mpya, lakini sherehe hizo hazitakuwa na maana kama hatutaweza kuzingatia katiba ile ambayo tulipitisha. Na basi tuendeleze hivyo, tuseme msimamo wa counties ni kwamba county ni serikali ambazo zina uwezo wa kujiendeleza katika mambo yote. Asanteni.
Very good. Yeah, I'll take a few questions. And before I take questions, I want to remind the national government that counties get about 10% of the budget. So let e-procurement first work for the 90% of the budget. Yeah, questions? Yes, sir.
My name is Peter Mboro from Nation Media. My questions are so I have two questions on the issue of EGP. So first is just an understanding of what has been happening with matters public procurement in counties, because now we are 2 months down the line into the new financial year. So how have counties been functioning? What are the affected services? And what is the budget size that is attached to procurement issues? That is number one. Number two, Treasury last week had said by today, that is Monday, there will be 31 counties whose budget documents would be on the EGP. Has that happened? And what is the progress of that line?
Now, on the implementation of the budget, you reckon that usually the first 3 months of the year are pretty slow, not for any other reason, but because of finalization of DORA and CARA, which is the Division of Revenue Act, the one that splits the money vertically between national and counties, and then CARA, the County Allocation of Revenue Act, which splits horizontally. Because those acts also sometimes change the percentage of money that goes to the assembly vis-a-vis the executive. A lot of counties have now finalized their budget and have taken to the controller. And usually the month of September is a catch-up month to try and spend money so that the quota doesn't get wasted. These are inherent challenges in the budgeting process. They are not as a result of the executive, because the executive, even after it suggests and proposes its budget to the county assembly, we still have to wait for national processes to be completed. So that's what's happening now. In Kiambu, we've had in this meeting now, the 123 health facilities are averaging less than 20% in pharmaceutical supplies, and they can't order. In some counties that support farmers with seeds before the rainy season, governors are saying if you don't buy these seeds in the next 2 weeks, we'll have lost our crop for that season. And we've tried to raise these things and say, look here, we have no problem with anything that enhances accountability. Because usually that's the card they usually play. Oh, you are resisting this because you don't want accountability. Accountability is not only for county governments. Accountability is for all of us. Under the guise of accountability, you cannot shove down our throats a system that doesn't work and freeze operations in counties. That's what we are saying. I hope I've answered your question. Yes, yes. Leto.
Yes. Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Badi is following this press conference live. And I'm seeing he's asking, why did you accept IFMIS and you don't want to...
The question, yeah.
Good question.
Good.
I knew he was going to ask that question. First of all, it's not that IFMIS has no problems. And IFMIS was there for the national government before. This is a system that's been piloted. He cannot do it through threats and intimidation and not solve the issues. Leto, you are a smart man. When a new system is being implemented, there are basics, right? There is a piloting of that system so that you can troubleshoot any problems that you face along the way. There is capacity building and training. there is parallel runs. I'll give you an example. They tried to implement a new system called Human Resource Information System in September of 2024. It couldn't work. And the average county had about 3 weeks of delay in paying salaries at the time. They pulled it back, fixed the software, and they went live on it in December of 2024. If this thing was working seamlessly, we would not even be having this conversation. And by the way, even as we speak in counties today, there is a system called the STEP by the World Bank. It's a procurement system for all World Bank projects. And it is working. And it's an e-procurement system. So this business of him saying that we intend to remove and plug papers out of manual, and procurement files or whatever. Why does everyone want to look good at the expense of counties? Why does everyone want to look like they're working at the expense of counties? And I put a question to Mbadi. You say he's watching this clip, this press conference. The other day at the DPF, I asked him a question. Refer me to one state agency, one department, one ministry, including his, where this thing has been adopted seamlessly and it's working. So that I can send these governors and their procurement officers to go and see how it's been done. It's none. And we talk to these people. We're not operating in two different planets. Probably it's just because they can't talk the way we're talking. It's not working for them as well. Yeah.
Council of Governors Chairperson and Wajir Governor, that is Ahmed Abdullahi, just there addressing on various issues ailing the counties, I should say, including the healthcare in the counties. This is in relation to the absorption of UHC staff, which is supposed to begin today, as was directed by the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Aden Duale, as well as the matters on e-procurement, which the President equally spoke to and said that they are not retreating back as a government and that all ministries as well as agencies need to onboard on this e-procurement. It's something that our very own Timothy Kipnusu is currently on, and momentarily he'll be just giving us a little report of how this transpired and which other issues that the COG equally addressed.
Okay, there you have it, the tug of war between Treasury and the Council of Governors on the change of system of procurement. The Treasury is insisting that everything should go online and be transacted electronically, while the governors are saying those systems that we are being given to function with are not even in themselves functioning. They are causing delay and, of course, hampering delivery of services by the county governments. How true that is, I see, is for you to, find out. But I can see two things in this particular fiasco. Number one is what Jesus said. Jesus said, no man having taken the old wine straight away desires the new, for he says the old is better. Change is always resisted, and then, of course, the old and comfortable way of doing things will always be preferred. And of course, it is in human nature to look for the easy way out of anything and everything. But this is something that I believe requires to be done rightly. I agree with the governors that no system should be introduced into governance without it having been proven and tested enough, and of course they are it has been confirmed in all areas that it can work without breaking down, and it can work without messing the whole scenario of operation. We are in a habit of hurrying things up in this country, especially with the Ruto administration, where we want change today and we must enforce it today. And when things refuse to work, we want now to use the arm of the law to frustrate the players. In my opinion, if the system change is genuine and the system change is really for the people, then let it follow due process. Now, this due process seems to be an issue with especially the current administration. They would rather do anything than follow the law. They would rather, pay anything than be able to slow down and just do what is required. And so if the governors are being called to function using a particular system that they have not been introduced to, system that they have not been coached on how to work, and then of course they are not sure it's going to deliver the services as required. No, I think the central government should follow due process, introduce changes bit by bit, and ensure that those changes are indeed for the profiting of the masses, as well as not hampering and frustrating the function of the county administration. And so both sides, I think something needs to seriously take place. And then, of course, I would that the counties should be, led to grow their solutions. The reason for devolution was not just create an office for governor and create an office for MCAs. The purpose for devolution was to get this government services closer to the people, and then also to ensure that those counties are not functioning by what is called top-bottom, okay? That the governor has decided and said. They really mind and wherever information behind devolution is for the people to come up with a solution to their issues. Yes, for the people to come up with a solution for their issues. Having said that, what I mean is that what is required in Wajir may not be required in Kakamega, and what is needed in Malindi may not be needed where? In Bungoma. And so let every county come together and, of course, address their issues in their own special way, as long as it's within the framework of the law. So this issue of Mbadi putting together systems and then forcing governors, they must operate by this or they have to operate by this, it's a colonial way of doing things, which is, in my opinion, backward and uncalled for. Let the counties sit down and come up with a way forward on how they want their things done. There are counties where majority of the people are farmers. They're looking for markets for their farm products. And so they don't have even to supply those things to the county. Okay, they have their market, they are supplying to schools and things like that. The only frustration is that there is no road to pick whatever that they are producing in the farm and take it to the market. And so as governor, instead of you fighting over a system and way of procurement, facilitate the farm products to get to the market. Facilitate the market to be inhabitable and useful for the marketing people, so that there is work taking place and your people are engaged into economic activities. If that's not your focus as a governor, it's not your focus as a national leader, then you are unfit for the office from the word go. And so let's not beat around the bush in the sense that, we are being forced to operate in a particular system. No, let Mbadi do his Mbading, wherever treasury issues, and let counties come up with solutions to their problems that are unique to that particular county. Issues of accountability. I don't see any requirement of the county executive to be overseen by Minister for Finance. I've not seen that in the law, except you show it to me. But this is the Minister for Finance. Let him focus on ensuring that he's coming up with policies that enhance the whatever expansion and growth of our economy, not to try and micromanage counties and wanting to, follow the money that is sending to the counties. That's not his job. The Auditor General should do that, and the other players. And so what is this about changing the system of operation into something new that has not been tested, and then you're forcing the people to do it? What do you have into this new system that you want to, make everybody bow to and make everybody adhere to the same? There's something fishy about this entire scenario altogether. And so as Kenyans, we should raise these questions and demand proper answers. The games being played by the ruling class are annoying and becoming, and of course we can't tolerate them anymore. And so as Kenyans, let's reject anything that has not been proved, anything that has not been tested and seen to be working in the interest of the masses. The hypocrisy and pretense that is being displayed by the current administration is alarming, and nobody should be able to buy into such. I'm not for the idea of all the money coming into one thing. The interference of e-citizen and wanting all the monies to be paid to e-citizen is something that makes even accountability impossible. And that's why I'm looking at this as a hypocrisy. When it comes to national government, you want all the money channeled to e-citizen, not for it to go anywhere else. And then now you want to follow the counties that no contract will be signed or will be entered into except there is this specific person, and of course given to this specific issue, and that this micromanaging needs to stop. Interfering with the county operations needs to stop. Let the people use their brains, come up with solutions to their issues. That's what the constitution requires. That is what the county government should do. That is what the national government should do. This other aspect of wanting to be everywhere, your fingers and everything, I mean, no. That's not the reason why you're a governor. That's not the reason why you are a president. And so the governor should dig in and reject anything that has not been proven and has not been tested. And then, of course, issues of accountability, that's why they are.
Tonight,
the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, a lot is taking place so fast. Therefore, everybody must work hard to stay on the cutting edge as far as making sense of our politics is concerned, and of course, remaining on top of all matters.
Tonight,
this is Sound Candy Talk Live. 72 people have cast their vote already, and only 42 have liked the video. Justified. So from the look of things, the majority of Kenyans think the government need to up their. Glad to report we are back on the main channel as well, and therefore
Sound Candy Talk is timely, accurate, professional, and affordable. You have a complaint or compliment, any question concerning our broadcasting, contact us soundcandytalk@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and X at Sound Candy Talk. Call us on 0718 45 45 85. At Sound Candid Talk, we help your event, trainings, shows, and so more to the world through internet broadcasting in UHD. We provide from 1 to several camera setups and integrate graphics to live in your live streams. For more information, contact us through +2547 18454585 or email at soundcandidtalk@gmail.com. Reach on us today. Tunazunguka kote kote mchana kutwa kukuletea taarifa na matokeo ya habari kutoka pembe zote za ulimwengu. Jioni tunaweka mduara wa kujadili taarifa zizo hizo kwa mapana na marefu. Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki kwenye matukio ya siku saa 2 jioni kwenye Sound Candid Talk. Matukio ya siku, makao makuu ya habari kuu ya siku.
Thank you so much for being here. Please confirm if you're able to get me. I can see my microphone is working. In case there is an issue, let me know. Thank you. Well, as we were saying, the process of the national government interfering with the county government is a question that needs to be concluded once and for all. William Ruto and team should know that the distinction between county government and national government are constitutional. They should remove their hand from county government and trying to monitor the county government. The county government has and should have its mechanisms of ensuring that they are doing what they are required to do the right way according to the law. And then, of course, if there is any mismanagement or misappropriation of public funds, then the national government has organs to address that. But the aspect of the Treasury trying to send money to the county and then follow that money to the county and try to ensure that that money is given to specific projects for specific reasons, specific individuals, specific companies, that is not their job. And somebody and team should stay at Treasury, ensure there is enough money sent to the counties. But going to procure systems and enforcing the county government that they have to use those systems, that in my understanding is uncalled for, unnecessary, and of course it should be resisted because somebody wants to micromanage counties, which is unconstitutional and should not be happening at all. So let people be content where they are and of course function effectively in those offices. Ruto wachana na counties. Counties ziko na governor, ziko na MCAs, na governor ako na cabinet. Kuna vile counties zinapaswa kufanya kazi na kwa ushirikiano na central government. Lakini masuala ya kulazimisha kwamba software fulani itumike kwa county ili ndio wizi usifanyike na hiyo masuala mengine. Hakuna mwizi ambaye ni mwizi kabla hajaiba. Yes, kabla kisheria sasa, nazungumza kuhusu kisheria. So haya masuala ya serikali ya juu kufikiria kwamba kila mtu anaiba na wasipofanya hivi itaibwa and all that ni suspicious. Yes, inakufanya unakuwa suspect. Either mwizi ni wewe ama unatafuta wa kuibia, na hiyo haifai kabisa. So wacha county government ifanye kazi yake. Kama kuna swala, DCI itaingilia, NIS iko na information, and then of course their legal justice system that is effective and working in Kenya. So let that be addressed then. But this, preconceived ideas that if we allow these people to procure, I remember there was a time we were having a satellite, what's it called, satellite crusades by a preacher was coming from America, I guess. And so he was doing satellite crusades within Nairobi, Eastlands, Westlands, and things like that. And so I remember us going to this planning committee, and the committee that was in charge of the whole crusade program said that if we, as pastors and of course leaders of various sections for the satellite, that's Eastlands and all that, he say if we are given the money, we will fight, and maybe the work will not be done. So the treasurer and the head leaders of that particular program said they will entertain budgets from us, meaning if we want to do posters, how much do we need? Want to do this, how much do we need? How much to do this? So that they pay the supplier directly other than giving us the money. And I can't forget this particular pastor who stood up and said, if you called us here for a meeting, let's have a meeting. And if you are not trusting us with the money, just forget it. He says God has already entrusted with the souls of people, and you want to use your money to try and manipulate us into accepting that we cannot be trusted. And I remember his point, and that's what I'm saying. If the Constitution says county government should take care of the resources given to them, let the Constitution keep them in check. Let the Constitution keep them on the right track. The national government should also stay and do what is required in terms of managing what falls in their side, not for them to interfere with the functions of the various parts of the county administration. Now, of course, there is also the issue of healthcare, like you heard the governor there talking about agriculture and things like that. All this is complaints being leveled because of delay of release of funds from the national government to the counties. You have not been successful in delivering money to the, to the counties, and then you're on the forefront of trying to micromanage the little that the counties are having in the name that they must use this system, they must transact through this system. It is uncalled for, unnecessary, and I would want to invite all members of the county assembly and all members of the National Assembly to scrutinize and look into these matters. There are some selfish laws and selfish bylaws that we are trying to enforce, which are unconstitutional. So let's revisit and relook into this entire thing so that we chart the way forward based on accurate information. From where I sit, the national government should remove the hand from the county government and vice versa. And the county government needs to be accountable. And accountability simply means answerable to the authority. So don't, end up being enslaved in the process of looking on how to be accountable. Ladies and gentlemen, time is running. But before we call it a day, I would want to look at the other twist of this entire thing. And then, of course, it's about the healthcare situation in the country by, the whatever proposition. And then, of course, and the hiccups that it is experiencing, and, of course, the displeasure of Kenyans on the same. And one of the things that has really, made me very not so happy is in the way that William Ruto is talking about is talking about the whole SHA issue. I had him the other day saying that he will pay for 1 million Kenyans to get and, of course, enjoy the services of the SHA movement. Now, I'm not against Ruto paying for 1 million Kenyans. I just want to remind him that Kenya has over 55 million people. Over 55 million people. So if the government pays for 1 million people, who pays for the remaining 53 million? You will answer me that one. Does he have a program that will pay for the remaining 54 million that were not captured in his 1 million. This is very frustrating from where I sit. When I try to imagine that this is a president of the Republic of Kenya, and the Republic of Kenya is, inhabited by over 55 million people. And the president, in his entire capacity as president and in his right mind in presenting case before journalists, he says that SHA is working and he will pay 1 million for 1 million Kenyans to join SHA and receive the services of SHA. Who will take care of this remaining outside of that particular system? And like I've said here, I'll keep saying, it appears clearly that William Ruto is running away from responsibility. That's all I can see, running away from responsibility. We have said we don't need bursaries. We don't need scholarships. We don't need all this aspect of, so and so should go and see so and so, so that they arrange something to take place. We don't need all that. What is needed for healthcare to function, Ministry of Health to function, is competent doctors, competent nurses, well-built hospitals, multiplied hospitals close to the residence of the people, and then supply enough medicine in all those medical centers. So instead of you contributing 500 for 1 million people, just buy drugs, put in the hospital, and tell Kenyans when you fall sick, go to hospital. When they go to hospital, they get a doctor, they get a nurse, they get medicine. That is how to take care of Kenyans. It's not handing them to put them on some God knows what healthcare system, and then you now want to pretend that you are paying for 1 million when 54 million are going free. So what kind of thinking is this that is thinking 1 million when we have 55 million? It simply means these people are not serious about governing this country. They are not serious about safeguarding the interests of the masses. All they are up to is when will their salary come and how well are they cheating the public to believe that they are for the public when they are not actually not for the public at all. And so it's frustrating from the word go that a whole president is bragging about paying for 1 million people when we have 54 million that God knows how they get their medication. This is not how things should be done. And so as we continue to look into these issues, please, let's ensure that we are standing for what is valid. And so from the word go, Ruto is not impressing me at all about the SHA thing, whether the SHA is working or not. If the government is only paying for 1 million people and the rest were jipange, we didn't even need to change from NHF to SHA. And so the SHA thing may just eventually collapse. And so let's wake up and do the right thing. I really want to salute all of you for being so faithful and committed to following the broadcast. And whatever you've had that is good, add it yourself. Whatever you've had that you think is problematic, bring it up. Let's discuss it. But at the end of the day, let's have Kenya for all Kenyans. And of course, Kenya that is prosperous and focused on a great future by reason of deployment of great policies that are pro the people and pro the development of the entirety of the nation. For governors and other leaders at different places, please take serious your responsibility and act in the interests of the people. If you are a governor and you don't know how many people you have in your county, you are unfit to be in that office. If you are a governor and you don't know how many hospitals are in your constituents, you are sick, you need help. If you are a governor and you don't know how many nursery schools are available, how many dispensaries are available, you are drawing salary for nothing. And so let's take serious the responsibility of being leaders, national leaders for that matter, and act in the interests of the majority of the people. William Ruto, stop talking to us about 1 million. Stop talking to us about even 50 million. Each and every Kenyan must have direct and free access to quality healthcare, quality education, and of course, quality food security. Those are the three main pillars that makes you president and needs you to be president. But if you're ignoring these three, and it doesn't matter what else you do, it doesn't make any difference anywhere. So let's holistically address these issues. William Ruto should not allow his head to hit the pillow until he is worried about the 55 million Kenyans and what to do to ensure that Kenyans are employed in a dignified manner and Kenyans are earning an income by reason of what? Deploying of their energy and their strength. Not for you to hurt people and stop them from doing one or two things. In my opinion, William Ruto, you have got so many things on your hands. Stop interfering with counties. Stop trying to micromanage the county funds and let the governors and their team work with the money that they have been allocated to, and they will give an account for each and every penny that has been spent. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, I must call it a night from there. One, because mmekataa kuja studio tukaongea maswala haya, and mbili, labda sikutaka kuanzisha swala ambalo sitalimaliza. Cha muhimu hapa, tukue vigilant, tutetee katiba na tutetee haki ya kila Mkenya. Kuwa Mkenya ambaye ni mzalendo, Mkenya ambaye ni mwaminifu, Mkenya ambaye atasimamia haki hata ya wale ambao hawezi kujitetea, wale ambao hawezi kuongea, wale ambao hawezi kupata sauti yao. Ni muhimu wewe ukuwe mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha kwamba vitu zinakwenda sawa sawa. Na kila kitu kikwenda sawa sawa, kila mtu atakuwa mahali ambapo panafaa. Lakini chochote ambacho kinakwenda mrama, sisi hao ndio tunapaswa kufanya nini? Kukirekebisha na kukosoa hata serikali wakati mambo haendi vile yanapaswa kwenda. Ningependa kuwashukuru tu sana, na naomba tuendelee kushare video, like video, and then subscribe kama huja subscribe, kuwa member wa Sound Candy Talk ili tukakue pamoja tukijifunza na kujua yote ambayo tunapaswa kuyajua, ili tusiwe tumebaki nyuma kwa lolote lile. Na wewe ndiye ambaye tunakutegemea kutupatia habari jinsi mambo yalivyo kwa kaunti yako, jinsi mambo yalivyo katika mji kunaokaa, na ni vipi ambavyo tutafanya ili inji ikasonge mbele. God bless you. Thank you so much for being part and parcel of this. Let's meet in the next program. I salute each one of you. Tukutane tutakapokutana. Asante sana.
Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Candy Talk Live. Sound Candy Talk is timely, accurate, professional, and affordable. You have a complaint or a compliment, any question concerning our broadcasting, contact us soundcandytalk@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and X at Sound Candy Talk. Call us on 0718 45 45 85.